You go first.
So we actually met in London on our missions. We were both serving missions for our church. And he was my zone leader when I first got out there.
We're one of those couples.
So I met him my first P day out in the mission, and I was just super awkward. I don't know. He just moved across the world. I didn't know what was going on. And I thought he was like a football dad coach. That was my first impression of him.
My first impression of Emma was, it was her first week that she was in London, and I don't know, she was just super shy. We didn't really talk much, and she was normal though. I knew that she liked sports, and that was kind of unique, being halfway across the world, finding someone that had similar interests was pretty cool.
So we overlapped our missions for about 9 months, and I think for 7.5 of those months we were in the surrounding areas. We're really close to each other. And so we became just super good friends on P days. I like talking to sports with someone and talking to someone about American things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was funny, if I ever left an area, a month or 2 months later, she'd follow me. She couldn't stay away. So
guess not.
and we just it was just a break from working so hard every day, just one day a week, just to relax and kind of feel like almost you're home for a second. I don't know, I think that's a very clear picture of what Emma is to me. She's my home no matter where I am. I was there 5,000 miles away, but I felt like I was home, so that was kind of a sign to me that she was something special. So the day before I left, she wrote me a letter and basically just wanted to start talking to me and writing me. For 8 months, I woke up early every Monday to talk to her.
But let's backtrack. The night before he left, he wrote me a letter and gave me a letter before he left. And so I was like, okay, maybe I should send an email. I honestly didn't know it was gonna happen. I thought he was cute, but I also knew he lived in Idaho. So I was like, he's a cool friend. We'll keep talking. I don't know what's gonna happen, but long story short, here we are now and something's happening.
Yeah, I would say the moment I knew that there was something there, I'd been home when I went on a date with someone whose name was Emma. And while I was on a date with her, I called her name, and I was like, wait a second, you're not Emma, you're not the Emma that I want to be with. And that kind of hit me. And then about 4 months later, I was on another date, and one moment I looked over and I was like, oh my gosh, you're not Emma, this is weird, I don't want to be here anymore. So it kind of hit me that, it was worth waiting for her to get home.
And I'm glad he waited. So I got home in August, and I didn't think anything was really gonna happen when we got home because he'd be starting football season. And I'd be going to BYU, and I was like, the only way for me to see him is for me to go up to Idaho, and I feel like that's kind of sending it.
Yeah, we kind of joked that COVID happened just for us, because really without it, we wouldn't have been able to see each other for probably months, until probably right now. But because of that, school was online, football didn't happen until just now, and so I was able to kind of actually move here for a couple months and to make sure she really was interested in me, and it was something she wanted to live with, and it all worked out. We got engaged on Christmas Eve.
And I recently moved up to Boise, and it's so much better being in the same state. But we had it really lucky. The longest we went without seeing each other was 2 weeks at the very most.
I put about 8,000 miles on my car in less than 2 months, so but every mile was worth it. My consideration of a first date, so I came up for a wedding, for my cousin's wedding. This is gonna be bad if she sees this, but I said I was coming for the wedding, but really I was just coming to see her. And I got here on a Friday night, and the wedding was that night, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go see her instead. That was the real reason I wanted to come. And I went and picked her up. I was so nervous. I was meeting her parents for the first time. But my parents had known about her for 10 months, and her parents didn't really know who I was. Who's this guy just coming out of here out of nowhere? But we went, and I was so hungry because I'd been driving for 5 hours. So we went to J-Dog's, and I got a hot dog and ate it, and she didn't get anything.
Let me clarify, he picked me up at 9 o'clock, and so I'd already had dinner and got J-Dog's. But the first date that I consider would be the next day, and we went to dinner with his mom and grandma and aunt and uncle, and that was really scary. I was so scared. I thought we were just gonna go to dinner. He was like, actually, can we go to dinner with them? So I was like, sure. But I was so scared to meet his family. And then we just asked, we went up to Silver Lake after and walked around. So I consider that our first date. So we obviously wrote for a long time, but during that time, we never really flat out said I like you and I want to date you.
No, I did. Multiple occasions.
We hinted.
No, I did. You
No,
did not.
we hinted. But we never actually talked about like that or what was gonna happen after I got home. And so I remember I was pretty nervous when I first saw him, and I just didn't know what was gonna happen because I was like, okay, it's either gonna go really well and it's gonna happen, or it's gonna be really awkward. And so I was kind of praying, like, God, if it's supposed to go good, please help it to just like not be awkward, like, or if we're not supposed to be together, just please help it to be the most awkward moment, the most awkward date or night of my life, so I could get that clear answer.
The moment I knew I wanted to propose was probably the Friday on our first date that we went out together. Because Emma and I both said, like, oh, is it going to be awkward? Like, I don't know what it's going to be like, but it was just so natural and it felt so right, and it was so nice to be with just her for once. And I'd say probably that night I knew that I wanted to. And then several months later, I bought the ring before I even asked her parents or like anything like that, because I just knew that I wanted to marry her. And we went to take photos on Christmas Eve, and during one of the photos, like, I was behind her and I just got down on one knee, and then she turned around and was so shocked. She had no idea, because a couple days before I was like, hey, like, if we got engaged, like, how long would you want to be engaged before we got married? And she was like really thrown off by that, I think.
And she's like, do you think like 2 months before it would work? And so I had no idea to talk to my parents, and I didn't know he bought a ring. And so I was completely thrown off guard when he proposed, but that was how I wanted it, and it was great.
I like got home in December, and like February I started saving for a ring. Like, she was not gonna be home for another 8 months, so I started saving for a ring because I was like, well, like, maybe. So yeah.
Good old plasma.
Yeah.
It was hard because I just got home. I was kind of stressed, you know, trying to figure out my life and a little overwhelmed. And so I was trying to figure out like if I wanted to date him right away or try to date some other people. I just didn't know what to do. And Ben was super good about it. He told me I like could definitely date other people because like that's kind of how he got his answer. But at the end of the day, I was like spent a few weeks thinking about it, and I just realized like the only reason I'd be dating other people was just to not sound crazy that I just came home and dated someone right away, but I knew what I wanted, and that was to date Ben. And before I came home, my mission president, in the interview he had with me, he was like, so what if you're dating someone and they want to get married or they want to date you, but you're not so sure? And I was like, okay. He's like, so like if you were to go to the temple and you were to like see you and him in the ceiling room, like would that be enough for you? And I was like, I hope so. Like I hope I'd take that as an answer. But then a few weeks after I got home, my brother got married and I had the opportunity to go to temple, and it was just really special. While I was sitting there, I had kind of that same experience that my mission president laid out for me, and so that was really personal for me, and I knew very early on that he was the one, and that I need to take that as my answer and that I shouldn't doubt it. And I'm just so grateful for him and for all the adventures we are going to have, and for the memories we've made so far.
Put you before me.